Today I'll be reading from the book Gifts He Left Behind, Dhamma Legacy of Phra Ajahn Dune Atulo. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sama sambuddhassa. Buddhang Dhammang Sanghang Namasami. I'll start with a brief biographical sketch. Phra Ajahn Dune Atulo was born on October 4th, 1888 in Phra Sat village in Muang district, Surin province. At the age of 22, he ordained in the provincial capital. 6 years later, disillusioned with his life as an uneducated town monk, he left to study in Uban Ratchathani, where he met Ajahn Singh Kanigyagamo and reordained in the Dhammayut sect. Shortly thereafter, he and Ajahn Singh met Ajahn Mun, who had just returned to the Northeast after many years of wandering. Impressed with Ajahn Mun's teachings and with his deportment, both monks abandoned their studies and took up the wandering meditation life under his guidance. They were thus his first two disciples. After wandering for 19 years through the forests and mountains of Thailand and Cambodia, Ajahn Dune received an order from his ecclesiastical superiors to head a combined study and practice monastery in Surin. It was thus that he took over the abbotship of Wat Burapha in the middle of town in 1934. He remained until his death in 1983. As one of the most senior members of the forest tradition founded by Ajahn Mun, Ajahn Dune was widely known as Luang Pu, a term of great respect and affection meaning venerable grandfather. I'll read the introduction also, it might be helpful. Many people have asked for Luang Pu's Dhamma talks out of a desire to read them or to listen to them, and I have to confess frankly that Luang Pu's Dhamma talks are extremely rare. This is because he never gave any formal sermons or discourse at any great length. He simply taught his meditation, admonished his students, and answered questions or discussed the Dhamma with elder monks. He would speak in a way that was brief, careful, and to the point. In addition, he never gave sermons at formal ceremonies. So in response to the desire and interest that many people have shown in Luang Pu's Dhamma, I have compiled this book of his short teachings, pure truths at the highest level, lessons and admonishments he gave his students, answers to questions and passages from the Buddha's words in the canon that he always liked to quote. Because I lived with him for such a long time to the end of his life, I have gathered these passages from memory or from notes I took. I have also included events, locations, and people who were involved to help make the passages easier to understand and more inviting to read. It was remarkable and amazing that even though Luang Pu normally wouldn't speak, he would speak as little as possible. He was still very quick and astute in his expression, never missing his mark. His words were brief but full of meaning, every sentence containing a message complete in itself. It was as if he would hypnotize his listeners, forcing them to ponder his words for a long time with their deepest discernment. The reader, noticing that some of the passages here contain teachings that are ordinary, some that are amazing, some that are pure truth on the ultimate level, may wonder why they aren't placed in ascending order, from easy to difficult or from low to high. The reason I didn't place them in order like that is because each passage is complete on one page, and I wanted to vary the atmosphere. If this is inappropriate, unseemly, or faulty in any way, I ask that all those who are learned will be kind enough to forgive me, an author of very little intelligence. Signed, Phra Bodhinandamuni. There's the first one. A Dhamma welcome. On December 18th, 1979, Their Majesties the King and Queen paid a private visit to Luang Pu. After asking about his health and well-being and engaging in a Dhamma conversation, the king posed a question. In abandoning the defilements, which one should be abandoned first? Luang Pu responded, all the defilements arise together at the mind. Focus right at the mind. Whichever defilement arises first, that's the one to abandon first. On the Four Noble Truths, a senior monk of the meditation tradition came to pay his respects to Luang Pu on the first day of the Rains Retreat in 1956. After giving him instruction and a number of teachings on profound matters, Luang Pu summarized the Four Noble Truths as follows. The mind sent outside is the origination of suffering. The result of the mind sent outside is suffering. The mind seeing the mind is the path. The result of the mind seeing the mind is the sensation of suffering. Above and beyond words. A well-read layman was conversing with Luang Pu saying, I firmly believe that in our present day and age, there are not just a few monks who have practiced to the point of reaching the past fruitions in Nibbana. So why don't they make their knowledge public so that those who are interested in the practice will know at what levels of Dhamma they have attained, and as a way of giving them encouragement and hope that they will accelerate their efforts to the utmost of their ability? Luang Pu answered, those who have awakened don't talk about what they've awakened to, because it lies above and beyond all words. A warning for heedless monks. A monk who lives heedlessly simply counts his precepts A monk who lives heedlessly simply counts his precepts as they're found in the textbook, proud of himself that he has all 227 precepts. But as for the number he's actually intent on observing, how many are they? Real, but not for real. It's normal that when people practicing concentration start getting results, they can have their doubts about what they've experienced. For example, when they've experienced conflicting visions or start seeing parts of their own bodies, many people came to Luang Pu asking him to resolve their doubts or to give them advice on how to continue with their practice. And a lot of the people would come to say that when meditating they saw hell or heaven or heavenly mansions or else a Buddha image inside their body. What was what they saw real? They would ask. Luang Pu would respond, the vision you saw was real, but what you saw in the vision wasn't. Stopping to know. In March 1964, a large number of scholarly meditating monks, the first group of the Dhamma missionaries, came to pay their respects to Luang Pu and to ask for teachings and advice that they would use in their work of spreading the Dhamma. Luang Pu taught them Dhamma on the ultimate level, both for them to teach others and for them to use to put into their own practices. In conclusion, he gave them a piece of wisdom for them to take and contemplate. No matter how much you think, you won't know. Only when you stop thinking will you know. But still, you have to depend on thinking as to know. On the ultimate level, there's no desire. Before the Rains Retreat, 1953, Luang Pa Ta, a relative of Luang Pu, who had ordained late in life, returned from many years of wandering with Ajahn Tate and Ajahn Sam in Phang Nag province to pay his respects to Luang Pu and to learn more about meditation practice. He spoke with Luang Pu on familiar terms, saying, now that you've built an ordination hall and a large, beautiful meeting hall, you probably reaped a really huge amount of merit. Luang Pu replied, What I built was for general good, for the good of the world, of the monastery, and of the religion. That's all. As for reaping the merit, what would I want with merit like this? Inspired words. Luang Pu continued with a Dhamma talk saying, material things are already there in the world in a way that's perfectly complete. People who lack the discernment and ability can't take possession of them, and so they have difficulties in providing for themselves. Those with the discernment and ability can take possession of the valuables of the world in large quantities, making life convenient and comfortable for themselves in all circumstances. As for the noble ones, they try to conduct themselves for the sake of gaining release from all those things, entering a state where they have nothing at all, because in the area of the world, you have the things that you have. In the area of Dhamma, you have something you don't have. Still more inspired words. When a person has shaved his head, has shaved his hair and his beard and put on the ochre robes, that's a symbol of his state as a monk. But it counts only on the external level. Only when he has shaved off the mental tangle, all the lower preoccupations from his heart, can you call him a monk on the internal level. When a head has been shaved, little creeping insects like lice can't take up residence there. In the same way, when a mind has gained release from its preoccupations and is freed from fabrications, suffering can't take up residence there at all. When this becomes your normal state, you can be called a genuine monk. What Buddha is like. Luang Pu was invited to teach in Bangkok on March 31st, 1978. During a Dhamma conversation, some lay people expressed their doubts about what Buddha was like. Luang Pu was kind enough to answer. When you meditate, don't send your mind outside. Don't fasten on to any knowledge at all. Whatever knowledge you've gained from books or teachers, don't bring it in to complicate things. Cut away all preoccupations. And then as you meditate, let all your knowledge come from what's going on in the mind. When the mind is quiet, you'll know it for yourself. But you have to keep meditating a lot. When the time comes for things to develop, they'll develop on their own. Whatever you know, have it come from your own mind. The knowledge that comes from a mind that's quiet is extremely subtle and profound. So let your knowledge come out of a mind that's quiet and still. Have the mind give rise to a single preoccupation. Don't send it outside. Let the mind stay right in the mind. Let the mind meditate on its own. Let it be the one that keeps repeating Buddha, Buddha, and then genuine Buddha will appear in the mind. You'll know it for yourself, what Buddha is like. That's all there is to it. He does, but he doesn't. In 1979, Luang Pu went to Chantaburi to rest and to visit with Ajahn Samchai. On that occasion, a senior monk from Bangkok, Phra Bodhinandamuni of Wat Buparam, the I can't say that word right now. Thank you very much. Please forgive my pronunciation, everybody. Head of the southern region of the country was there also, practicing meditation. Being only 1 year younger than Luang Pu, when he learned that Luang Pu was a meditation monk, he became interested, engaged Luang Pu in a long conversation on the results of meditation. He mentioned his responsibilities, saying that he had wasted a lot of his life engaged in study and administration work well into his old age. He discussed different points of meditation practice with Luang Pu, finally asking him, "Do you still have any anger?" Luang Pu immediately answered, "I do, but I don't pick it up." Throw it away. A lady professor, after hearing Luang Pu give a talk on Dhamma practice, asked him the proper way to wear suffering, the Thai idiom for observing a period of mourning. She continued, "These days people don't wear suffering in the correct way or in line with the common pattern, even though King Rama VI established a good standard in the time of his reign. When a member of your immediate family or a senior member of your extended family died, the pattern was to wear suffering for 7 days, 50 days, or 100 days. But nowadays, people don't follow any pattern. So I'd like to ask you, what is the correct way to wear suffering?" Luang Pu answered, "Suffering is something to be comprehended. When you comprehend it, you let it go. Why would you want to wear it?" What to study and what not to study. Venerable Ajahn Suchino received his law degree from Dhammasat University a long time ago and held the practice of Dhamma in high regard. He was a student of Luang Pu Lui for many years, and then after hearing of Luang Pu, Dune's reputation came to practice with him. Eventually he took ordination. After staying with Luang Pu for a while, he came to take his leave so that he could wander off in search of solitude. Luang Pu advised him, "In the area of Vinaya, you should study the text until you correctly understand each and every rule to the point where you can put it into practice without error. As for the Dhamma, if you read a lot, you'll speculate a lot. So you don't have to read that at all. Be intent solely on the practice, and that will be enough." What to watch. Luang Ta Nan ordained well after his middle age, illiterate, unable to speak a word of Central Thai. He had his strong point in that he was well-intentioned, tractable, and diligent in his duties to the point where you couldn't find fault in him. When he saw other monks taking their leave to go wandering or to study with other ajahns, he decided that he wanted to go too. So he came to ask permission to leave, which Luang Pu granted. But then he felt worried. "I can't read. I don't know their language. How will I be able to practice with them?" Luang Pu advised him, "The practice isn't a matter of letters of the alphabet or of the spoken word. The fact that you know you don't know is a good place to start. The way to practice is this. In the area of Vinaya, watch their example. In the area of the Vinaya, watch their example and the example set by the Ajahn. Don't deviate it in any way from what he does. In the area of Dhamma, keep watch right at your own mind. Practice right at the mind. When you understand your mind, that in of itself will make you understand everything else." Didn't think of that. In one of Luang Pu's branch meditation monasteries, there lived a group of 5 or 6 monks who wanted to be especially strict in their practice, so they made a vow not to talk through the rains retreat. In other words, no word would come out of their mouths except for the daily chanting and the bi-weekly Patimokkha chant. After the end of the rains, they came to pay their respects to Luang Pu, who told him of their strict practice. In addition to many other duties, they were also able to stop speaking for the. In addition to their other duties, they were also able to stop speaking for the entire rains. Luang Pu smiled a bit and said, "That's pretty good. When there's no speaking, there's no faults. No faults are committed by the way of speech. But when you say you stop speaking, that simply can't be. Only the noble ones who enter the refined attainment of cessation, where feeling and perception stop, are able to stop speaking. Aside from them, everybody's speaking all day, all night long, and especially those who vow not to speak. They talk more than anyone else. They simply don't make a sound that others can hear." Monks who victimize spirits. Generally speaking, Luang Pu liked to encourage monks and novices to take special interest in the practice of wandering in the forest and to meditate and observe the ascetic practices. Once, when a large number of his students, both senior and junior, came for a meeting, he encouraged them to search for seclusion in the wilderness, living on mountains or in caves for the purpose of accelerating their practice. That way they'd be able to release themselves from their lower states of mind. One of the monks said thoughtlessly, "I don't dare go to those places, sir. I'm afraid that the spirits might victimize me." Luang Pu shot right back, Where have there ever been any spirits who victimize monks? There are only monks who victimize spirits, and they make a big production of it to boot. Think about it. Nearly all the material things lay people bring to donate are for the sake of dedicating the merit to the spirits of their dead ancestors and relatives, their parents, their grandparents, their brothers and sisters. And do we monks behave in a fitting way? What mental qualities do we have that will send merit to those spirits? Be careful that you don't become a monk who victimizes spirits. A warning not to be heedless. To ward off any heedlessness or carelessness in the behavior of his monks and novices, Luang Pu would choose a poignant way of reprimanding them. Lay people work hard at their living with lots of difficulties so that they can gain the material things, the food and money they need to support their families, their children, their grandchildren. No matter how tired or exhausted they are, they have to keep struggling. And at the same time, they want to gain merit, which is why they sacrifice some of their belongings to make merit. They get up early in the morning to fix good food, put it in our alms bowls. Before they put the food in our bowls, they lift it up above their heads and make a wish. When they finish putting the food in the bowl, they back away, squat down, and raise their hands in respect once more. They do this because they want merit from supporting our practice. And what merit is there in our practice that we can give to them? Have you behaved yourself in a way that you deserve to receive their food and eat it? The truth is always the same. Many well-read people would comment that Luang Pu's teachings were very similar to those of Zen or the Platform Sutra. I asked him about this many times, and finally he replied in an impersonal way. All the truths of the Dhamma are already present in the world when the Buddha awakened to those truths. He brought them out to teach to the beings of the world. Now, because those beings have had different propensities, coarse or refined, he had to use up a lot of words, 84,000 sections of Dhamma in all. When wise people try to select the words best suited to explain the truth to those who aim at the truth, they have to use the methods of the truth that, on reflection, are the most correct and complete, without worrying about the words or getting fixed on the letters of the text in the least way at all. Knowledge from study versus knowledge from practice. Someone said, the teachings about virtue, concentration, discernment, release that I've memorized from books and from teachings of various Ajahns, are they in line with Luang Pu's understanding of their essence? Luang Pu answered, virtue means the normalcy of the mind that's free of faults, the mind that has armored itself against doing evil of any kind. Concentration is the result that comes from maintaining that virtue, a mind with solidity, with stillness, has the strength sending it to the next step, discernment, what knows. Is a mind empty, light, and at ease, seeing things clearly all the way through for what they really are. Release is a mind that enters emptiness from that emptiness. In other words, it lets go of the ease, leaving a state where it is nothing and has nothing, with no thought remaining at all. Is that all they want? Even though people would come in groups to hear Luang Pu's opinion about rebirth, claiming that this person or that was able to remember many past lives, seeing what they had been in the past or who their mothers and relatives in past lives have been, Luang Pu would say, I've never been interested in this sort of knowledge. Even just threshold concentration can give rise to it. Everything comes from the mind. Whatever you want to know or see, the mind will grant you the knowledge or vision, and quickly at that. If you're satisfied with just this level of knowledge, the good result is that you'll fear being reborn on a low level. That way you'll set your mind on doing good, being generous, observing precepts, and not harming one another. You'll be able to smile confident in the results of your merit. But as for eliminating defilements to destroy ignorance, craving, and attachment in order to reach total release from suffering, that's something else entirely. Final words. A few moments after he finished chanting the Mahasatipattana's discourse, Luang Pu began speaking about Lord Buddha's total nibbana from the beginning to the end. Here I'll ask just to quote his concluding remarks. The Lord Buddha didn't attain nibbana in any of his jhanic attainments. When he left the fourth jhana, his mental aggregates all ceased at once, with nothing remaining. In other words, he allowed his feeling aggregate to cease in an awake state of mind. The normal human mental series, complete with mindfulness and alertness, with no other mental states coming to blind or delude the mind at all. This was the mind fully in its own state. You could call that state great emptiness, or the original cosmos, or nibbana, whatever you like. That's the state I've been practicing all along to reach. Those were Luang Pu's last words.
Sadhu, 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 anumodam.
Questions or comments?
I think the teachings of the mind knowing the mind is the path. Is that the saying that
the reformulation of the Four Noble Truths?
It's the third of the mind knowing the mind is the path, which seems to be heavily emphasized in this tradition. And would you say that all that's true, or an emphasis of most of the teachers of this tradition?
Yeah, it's all like the mind or the heart, knowing itself. That's a huge emphasis. Luang Por Cha and others putting huge emphasis on that. Luang Por Liam as well. Yeah. And not reading too many books, not putting emphasis on reading books, but just knowing, reading the heart. That's Ajahn Chah. Yeah.
I had another question, if you could translate about reading and books for the Ajahn. Doing Tudong a lot, I was wondering if he brings a book with him or just goes out and practices.
Ajahn Sikh.
Yeah, Ajahn Sikh. If how his balance is for both of you actually, how he balances study and the practice and with this emphasis on Tudong.
ก็พอเรียนถามท่านอาจารย์เพราะว่าอ่านหลวงปู่ดูลเทศในเรื่องอ่านหนังสือก็ไม่ต้องอ่านหนังสือเลยอ่านจิตใจอย่างเดียวแต่พอถามเมื่อไปทุดงค์หรืออยู่ในวัด ต้องอ่านหนังสือบ้างหรืออาจารย์ว่าอย่างไรมีคำแนะนำอะไรเรื่องอ่านหนังสือแล้วก็เมื่อเดินทุดงค์เอาหนังสือไปด้วยไหมครับ
คือเดินทางการทำก็เป็นปริยัตินะปริยัติอย่างหนึ่งปริยัติหนังสือก็เป็นความจำอ่านแล้วเราก็มาปฏิบัติปริยัติปฏิบัติไปทุดงค์นะครับทั้งเราไปปฏิบัติเราอ่านหนังสืออ่านครูบาอาจารย์แล้วท่านไปทุดงค์ที่โลกที่นี่มันเป็นยังไงเป็นอะไรได้รับความทุกข์ยังไงประสบการณ์เป็นยังไงอันนี้เราอ่านหนังสือเราไปทุดงค์เราได้สัมผัสจริงในการปฏิบัติถ้าเป็นปริยัติไปด้วยแต่เวลาไปทุดงค์ก็สามารถจะเอาหนังสือทำวินัยไปครับหนังสือเกี่ยวกับวินัยเกี่ยวกับโอ้แล้วครูว่าแล้วว่าหนังสือปฏิโมกข์ไปหนังสือสวดมนต์ไปก็คือศึกษาทำวินัยเราด้วยไปตามที่บางทีเราทำวินัยเราต้องศึกษาข้อวัดปฏิบัติของเราแล้วก็ธรรมะแล้วก็มันก็จะเราก็ศึกษาในการปฏิบัติในการเรียนรู้มันจะเกิดขึ้นแล้วก็เป็นการเรียนรู้ประสบการณ์และเป็นปริยัติเหมือนกันว่าผ่านจากประสบการณ์มาแล้วก็ปฏิบัติศึกษาปฏิบัติก็มันจะเกิดขึ้นในใจเราแล้วก็เป็นการปฏิบัติก็ไม่จำเป็นต้องเอาหนังสืออะไรไปมากมาย
So too, call God. So like, there's one aspect like the pariyatti, which is the study. So like, we can study, read books if there's some sort of knowledge we need to acquire, and then there's patipati, which is like the the practice. So like, if we're in the monastery, we can do both. But if we go tudong is specifically a patipati, so it's not like a pariyatti practice. Tudong is specifically a putting it into practice type practice. So like in the monastery, if we read books about Kruba Ajahns or people who go tudong, what they experienced, the difficulties they went through, and so on, then we're just reading about it, so that's like our study. But then when we actually go tudong, then we're actually experiencing and contacting all of those things for ourselves. But that's not to say we don't bring any books on tudong. So we might bring our little Patimokkha book or some sort of small Dhamma book or like a chanting book in order to do chanting on tudong and study our chanting, refine our chanting. Or the Patimokkha, we have the Patimokkha book in order to continue to chant the Patimokkha and to use it as a reminder. The Vinaya books to remember our precepts better, like when we're on tudong, so we don't transgress our precepts. But more than that isn't necessary on tudong. So like, we don't need to bring like several books or a lot of books on tudong, but just the bare minimum for reminding us. So in that sense, we do some pariyatti on tudong, but mostly it's like doing it for the sake of contacting all these things that we've studied already.
I'm blanking on the Vinaya manual that Luang Pu had with him.
I think he actually took the Visuddhimagga with him. Or no, he took the Pubasika one, and yeah, it's this sort of big, heavy book that Luang Pu Cha would take with him on tudong. This and it's like really ancient Thai that almost nobody knows how to read. You have to have like a college degree in order to decipher it. And he would take this big book with him on Tudong.
That's what I recall too, is that the Ajahns, they generally just take, like Ajahns say the same, just pretty much Vinaya texts is what they would take.
Yeah.
What about Ajahn Mun?
Ajahn Mun เมื่ออาจารย์หลวงปู่มั่นเดินทุดงค์มีหนังสือเอาไปด้วยหรือเปล่าอาจารย์รู้ไหมครับ
อันนี้ความถ้าครูบาอาจารย์จำวินัยหรืออะไรจำได้แม่นยำแล้วคงจะไม่จำเป็นแต่ว่าถ้าผมไปผมต้องไปด้วยท่านวินัยอย่างหนังสือปริโมกข์เนี่ยแต่ผมก็ไม่ทราบเรื่องไปจากนั้นตอนนั้นไปตอนนั้นไปด้วยผมก็ไม่ทราบว่าผมต้องติดไปด้วยหนังสือปริโมกข์ไปไหนก็อะไรต้องไป
He's not sure, but sort of it may not have been necessary for Luang Pu Mun to take any books. Like if they hadn't completely memorized it or completely fluent Patimokkha Vinaya yet, they might take some books with them. So he's saying for himself, he takes the Patimokkha book with him because to remind himself if he's having to chant it or has doubt about a certain precept or anything, then he'll take that. But he not sure if Ajahn Mun if it was necessary for him to take any books.
Yeah, because even when Ajahn Chah asked him about the Vinaya, he said the whole Iri Notapa thing. So wasn't that kind of like an instruction to stay away from, or no, maybe more like keep it simple for him because that was his kind of character.
Yeah, because that was Luang Por Cha's question to Luang Pu Mun, was that there's all these rules, and especially with the commentaries that Luang Por Cha was studying, there's the 227 rules literally becomes thousands of rules, minor protocols, and he says seems impossible to keep every single one. Maybe sometimes there's even discrepancies where you keep one, but then that means you're breaking the other one. So then, of course, Luang Pu Mun said, well, Hirya Notapa, or the Lokapala, the protectors of the world. So if you have those, then you'll be keeping the precepts in spirit. Yeah, kind of emphasizing the letter. He wasn't saying to not study it, but that the letter isn't as important as the spirit of the rules. The Buddha as well, there's a sutta that I like, I think it's Majjhima 104, and it's one of these rare suttas where the Buddha talks about Vinaya in the suttas, and the Buddha says, well, if there's a disagreement as to the letter of a rule, that's a mere trifle, but if there's a disagreement as to the spirit of the rules, that's a great matter and has to be discussed, and you have to come to an agreement on it.
Yeah, it's surprising that the Buddha became the Buddha without the Vinaya.
Yes, and the Vinaya wasn't even formulated until 20 years after he attained Buddhahood, so that they didn't really have a codified Patimokkha yet until way later. There's a nice story about Luang Pu Dun visiting Wat Pah Nanachat when Ajahn Pasano was the abbot, and Luang Pu Dun kind of just showed up one day, and Ajahn Pasano said, "Oh my God, Luang Pu Dun's here," and Luang Pu Dun had gone with a number of lay people to visit Wat Nanachat, and then Ajahn Pasano was kind of like, get the Sangha together, okay, we can, and please, Luang Pu Dun, Luang Pu, would you be able to give a talk to us? And Luang Pu Dun said, no, I brought my lay people here so you could give a talk to them. So So he came and then made Ajahn Pasano give a talk to his lay people. But he didn't give a talk. He doesn't like to speak. มีรายหนึ่งกับหลวงปู่ดูลไปเยี่ยมวัดพนานาชาติอาจารย์ประสานโนเป็นเจ้าอาวาสแล้วก็อาจารย์ประสานโนก็นิมนต์หลวงปู่เทศให้บุคคลสองวัดพนานาชาติครับแล้วก็หลวงปู่ดูลบอกว่าก็ไม่ได้เทศแต่เอาญาติโยมวัดมาให้อาจารย์เทศให้ญาติโยมฟัง แต่หลวงปู่ไม่เทศครับ ไม่อยากพูดอะไรครับ
ประธานเรียบง่ายท่านไม่ค่อยพูดไม่ค่อยเทศท่านจะมีความถ้าคนเข้าใกล้ท่านจะรู้สึกเย็นสบายมีเมตตาพูดถึงเทศน้อยอะไรเทศพูดในใจสำคัญ
He said, he made a comment, Luang Pu didn't speak a lot, but people who lived close to him felt this incredible sense of coolness and at being at ease when you're near him. But he just spoke a little if there was a need, if it was necessary. Whatever was, if there was a necessity, then he would speak directly just to that point, but not speaking a lot, mostly preferring to keep silent.
เข้าใจว่าการคิดถึงจะรู้นะแต่หลวงปู่ดูลท่านว่าจุดคิดถึงจะรู้เนี่ยเป็นคำสั้นๆง่ายๆแต่มันลึกซึ้งถึงจุดความคิดของเราถึงจะรู้ที่จริงเราคิดว่าการจะรู้อะไรก็ต้องคิดพิจารณาแต่ว่าถ้าเราไม่คิดจุดคิดถึงจะรู้ง่ายๆสั้นๆ
He's actually repeating one of the teachings that was read today, which was like think until you know. So it's like think until you know was something he said, but you don't know unless you stop thinking. And when you contemplate that, then you think until you know. So it's kind of a profound. It's easy, simple, but profound and not easy to realize or see clearly. But this is apparently connected maybe with his not speaking. It's just like, it's not speak until you know, it's more like think and contemplate until you know. Okay, on that note, it's 9:00.